Welcome to the Digital Forensics Now podcast. Today is Thursday, April the 10th, the year 2025, and my name is Alexis Brignoni, aka Briggs, and I'm accompanied by my co-host, the Celebrate C2C Mentor of the Year 2025, people. Woo! The Pied Piper of Albany, but with bears instead of mice. The anti-lodging long-distance driver. The unique, the only one. The mold has been broken after she was made. Heather Charpentier. Music is hired up by Shane Ivers and can be found at silvermansound.com. People. Hello, everybody. After I couldn't find the play button for the music, but here we are.
Oh my God. I think that's the longest intro you've ever given me.
Look, it's a lot of things been happening. I know people are dying to know all about all these things, so we can tackle them in the order. Look, people. Heather was the main character of the last 2 weeks. She was the main character energy. The main storyline was going through her. So if you're attentive to the show of life, she was the main character for the last 2 weeks. So tell us, Heather.
I don't know about all that.
It's true, people. It's true. What do you want to start with, sir?
It's been a busy few weeks for sure. Thank you. I see everybody writing congrats in the comments. Thank you very much.
Exactly. Well deserved. Extremely well deserved.
Yes. The Pied Piper of Bears, huh?
Yes. And people are like, what?
I may have to tell the story behind the Pied Piper of the Bears, I think.
Yeah. Well, you tell it. What happened with bears? What happened?
So I think everybody knows from a previous show, I love birds and I have the Bird Buddy bird camera. And so I feed the birds and I get them on the video camera that's built into the bird feeder. And there comes a time every year in New York that you have to take your bird feeder down because certain animals come out of hibernation. Yeah, well.
Other than people.
Let me just share what I caught in my bird cam. Hopefully everybody can see it.
Yeah.
If you can't, write in my chat.
Oh my gosh.
But
people are just listening. That's not a dog making a sound, okay?
No. So the bear decided to come out of hibernation and just hop right onto my bird feeder for a little snack. So
wow.
Bird feeder is now down and in my house. It will go back out when the hummingbirds arrive.
Do the birds come in and eat from inside the house?
Yeah. No. I'm just gonna hold off on the birds for a little while.
Oh my goodness, that's so scary. Let me send a quick shout out to Duck Squash. It's first time he catches the show, he or she catches the show. So good to have you. That's crazy, like scary. That video is scary. And where's that bird feeder at? Like in a pole, wall? Where you have it from?
On a pole, right outside my window.
Your window. Okay. Don't poke your head out.
No, I didn't want to go outside in the morning. I think you messaged me, hey, are you headed to the gym? Hell no, I am not leaving my house. I stayed at the house and did my thing.
Oh my god, yeah. Well,
yeah,
lessons learned.
Yeah, definitely.
Now that you learned your lesson with the bear, now I'm gonna introduce to everybody.
Oh,
right. I already said it. The mentor of the year, and it was fantastic. Look, we were invited. I was invited. I was nominated for something. I didn't win, which is great because I could really focus my energies on celebrating Heather. It was so much fun. We ate. We got dressed up. She showed us some pictures of that in a second. But I wanna play to you against her will, totally against her will,
completely.
Her win. So everybody, just enjoy this with me, please, as we comment live on it. Hopefully everybody can see this. There's Heather Barnhart from Celebrate. Listen to her speech. It's
Being
great.
a mentor can be exhausting. I would not be here today.
Can everybody hear it?
My first boss did not force me to not push buttons and get answers. So I have several mentors. Some of you are in this room and you may not even realize it. Mo, you mentor me and you may not realize it. I have mentees in this room that I may not realize it. And it's all about giving back. Our jobs are hard. Our jobs are exhausting. No one has time to mentor. That's what we all say. When someone's like, hey, can you introduce me? Yeah, I don't have time. And then you end up keeping communications with that person. It is our job
I didn't even see that.
to raise the next generation. We're not all going to be doing
Just like
this
get the
forever.
camera out of my face.
That's something to really think about.
What is wrong with you?
It is ongoing work that you are going to do forever. This is why we created the 101, the Celebrate community, is a place for you and the younger generation to meet people, to groom them into being amazing examiners and investigators. So, this person has gone above and beyond and has done more than you can imagine. It is my honor.
When she said that, I knew it was just you won at that moment.
Oh, stop it. You did
I
not.
use Faraday bags, by the way.
I did.
So, back in the day, you know who you are if you use these.
They had it inside little Faraday bags. The card.
They were bigger back then. All right. From one Heather to another.
Oh my God.
On fire! No, this is the best part now. Nobody was giving speeches at this point.
Yeah, I know. Nobody was giving speeches.
Speech! 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 Yes, speech! 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 Speech!
Oh, I could have killed them.
Coworker right here that doesn't get to put me on the spot.
I work with Heather, guys.
But thank you so much. I appreciate it. I think I learn more every day mentoring people than I'm giving back. So thank you.
And then Heather went with the plate and hit us over the head with it.
Oh, there was a nice "I hate you" at the end.
Yeah. Let me tell
I didn't
you,
even
that I
realize
hate you.
said that.
Oh, you did. You did. You said it a few more times after that, but that made
Oh,
it
I'm
all
sure.
worthwhile. That I hate you was
Sure.
like the most valuable thing I got out of the whole experience. It was great.
Oh my gosh. So yeah, this will be our last podcast because Alex and I are no longer friends after he put me on the spot to do a
Look.
speech when nobody else was doing
Well,
speeches.
the thing is that she's contractually obligated, so sorry, we have to get the lawyers involved. Some other podcast trying to steal her. Not happening. You know who you are. Not happening.
So that was great. Thank you for sharing that and embarrassing me. However, I want to show some pictures from the conference because it was a great time. We hung out with old friends, met some new friends that we had never met before.
And look how sharp. I mean, Heather's just killing it. Killing it.
So this is my coworker, Kevin Lieback, who nominated me for the Mentor of the Year and decided to join with Alex and scream speech while I was on the stage.
Look, I the first time I met him that day, and now he's my brother. Like we're like tight. Look, he's like the best. Definitely the best.
Yeah, the one that I called a jerk as I walked up on the stage. Everybody knows Ronan. He's the life of the party at Celebrate for sure.
At every party.
Yeah, at every party. You're right. The binary hick, Josh Hickman.
the
Yep.
man.
Got
man
to
with a
hang out
plan.
with Josh.
Yeah.
JP from France, who works for Celebrate and does some really good research. If you haven't checked out his blogs or webinars, check them out. It's awesome.
Some jerk there on your other side.
Some jerk. Yeah, I'm not even going to acknowledge the other guy in the picture.
Keep going.
This picture is actually 3 Heathers. We had 3 Heathers in the area at the same exact time.
Heather overload.
Yes, it was. Yep. Besides getting to hang out with old friends, meet new friends, we got to listen to quite a few good talks. And this is one of the ones that stood out to me the most, actually, was Ian Whiffen and Heather Mahalik Barnhart. They were giving a speech about verifying validation. And I thought it was a really good speech.
Yeah, and Ian and both of them, I mean, they're fantastic.
Yeah,
So
great.
Ian is the best, and Heather too.
And then, of course, we got to see Geraldine Bly and Dan
Ogden, yeah.
Yep. And K9 Siri, you can just see the top of her head there, but she was up on the stage too. They gave a presentation about a case that they worked on. It was really great presentation.
No, and they're awesome. I've known them for many years, especially Dan. I've known Dan from way back when. And what a great examiners and investigators. Really good people.
And then we have Alexis, myself, and Bill, the phone wizard himself. We were all dressed up and ready to go to the gala.
Yeah, Bill is so much fun to be around with.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. He gave a great presentation too. If anybody ever gets the chance to catch his presentation on expert witness testimony, it's like top notch. Gives you great pointers and just a really good idea of how to testify as an expert witness. We got to meet the one and the only Lionel Natari from Switzerland, who everybody knows for his blogs on the Unified Logs. Great guy. What a down to earth, fun, just great guy.
Oh, and that dude, he's like the most sharply well dressed guy. It don't matter what time of day, what time of night. I mean, what day, weekends. The guy look always sharp. I'm like, dude, I'm gonna aspire to look like you one day. That guy was sharp. Yeah,
definitely.
Plus, he's super smart.
Oh my God, yeah, definitely. We were causing trouble, so we got locked up. Alexis and the two Heathers in a jail cell.
They gave us some time out.
Yeah, and then here's a better shot of K9 Siri and Geraldine and Dan and Alexis and myself at the gala. The Mentor of the Year picture with Heather and I.
Oh, that's beautiful. I love that picture. Look who's there.
That's a good one. And then the keynote speaker was Tim Tebow, and they had all of the people that won an award at the Digital Justice Awards, which they're calling the Justies. We had all got to go back and actually meet Tim Tebow. So that was really, really cool. And of course, we snuck my nominator, Kevin Lieback, back to see Tim Tebow because he really wanted to meet him as well. So he came back and
Heather was excited to meet a guy that plays sports ball or whatever that's called.
Yeah, no, he gave a really good speech. I was excited to meet him because of that. Sports ball,
you know nothing about it.
Yeah. So that's just some of the highlights from the conference. It was a really good conference. It was held in DC last week, and it was a really good conference.
I agree. I think hopefully for next year, if folks here get a chance to attend, please do. It's a great event. It was the inaugural event. I think it was really well run, really well done. And I've gone to dozens and dozens of events like this. So I think it was really well done. And thank you, Celebrite, for having us, me and Heather there, and be part of that event. And hopefully we can do that again in the future.
Yeah, and they did announce too, there's an early registration for next year. It's at a greatly discounted price. So if anybody is looking to register for next year, sign up.
Do it. Let's just do it. Well, I think we run out of I love me, so we love ourselves parts.
Yeah, that's enough. That's enough of that.
let's do something productive now.
Well, actually, the next one is kind of a little bit about me. Sorry. But
we got some left. Some Heather loves Heather, a little bit left over. So let's get it done.
Sorry. So we were gonna have a podcast prior to this podcast that I'm gonna talk about coming out, but I got busy with some work stuff and we had to postpone till this week. So there was a podcast called Mobile Forensics, Are You Nerd Enough? And it was about extracting RAM from phones, put on by Cyber Social and hosted by Adam Furman from MSAB. It was Adam Furman, Dave Lauder from MSAB, Wendy Wong from MSAB, and myself. And we talked about extracting the RAM data, what you can get from it, the different techniques. They talked quite a bit about their RAMalyzer and the techniques that they use for the RAM extractions. It aired on March 26th, but it's still available if anybody wants to check it out and view it. And I'll put the link in the show notes afterwards.
No, it was a good show. I met Dave and Wendy in Sweden, maybe a month and a half ago. Really, really sharp people. I mean, they're developing that capability, and it's watch the podcast. It's really a capability you need to consider having in your toolbox. Be able to extract RAM from Android devices, and you'll be surprised. We talked about it before in the show, but it's worth saying again. You'll be surprised how much stuff you can get out of it when you think that you have all that you have. You will be surprised.
Yeah, definitely. So Oh, this one's not about me, but it's
It's
about,
it's close
about
enough.
my,
It's
about my
tangentially about you.
agency. My
Yeah.
agency. I did want to highlight my agency, the New York State Police. They were honored with a special new award at the Magnet User Summit in Nashville. It's called the Magnet Agency Impact Award, and they provided it honoring commitment to protecting communities and advancing digital forensics. I'm just going to throw a little picture up there. But we were awarded. I wasn't there. That's my lieutenant right there in the middle, holding the award, and then some other New York State Police computer crime unit employees and some Magnet employees there presenting the award.
Yeah, you can see Jad there, or if you're looking, as you're looking to the screen to your left, that's Jad there. I forgot the name of the gray key guy to the left of him. So you got some pretty famous people there, plus the nice people from New York State Police, just killing it, delivering justice all around the state, the great state of New York. So congrats to all of you.
Thank you. And did you see that award? You could really hurt somebody with that award. It's really like pointed and sharp.
Well, that's why you give it to law enforcement people. We we deal with weapons daily,
Yeah.
so we know how to handle
it. So we did want to talk about a couple of new podcasts that are out that everybody should check out. So the first one is called OSINT Cocktail, and it is a podcast that delves into the world of open source intelligence and digital investigations, put on by investigators Kirby Plessis, Kelly Paxton, Amber Schroeder, and Cynthia Navarro. And they're talking about pop culture contact and giving some investigative feedback on some really actually pretty well-known cases and series on there's one on Netflix, but series on some shows.
Yeah, I mean, everybody knows Amber, CEO and founder of Paraben. She's been around, an expert for a long time, so we all love her. And it's a great concept. I'm like, one of those ideas, I wish I had thought of it first, right? Because they go into this show, right? And then they have the show and they discuss about the forensics as portrayed on the show, right? Sometimes it's ridiculous. Sometimes there's some value or something to comment on and then build on. So it's a great idea, a great show. So go check it out.
The next one is Haxordia has a podcast now called Truth and Data. In the first episode, they talk about timely data preservation on mobile devices. Actually, let me back up for a minute. It's Jessica Hyde, Debbie Garner, and Kim Bradley that are putting on this podcast.
All stars. All these people are known to you. And if they're not known to you, you need to go find out who they are. I mean, all stars. So it's also a great show.
Yeah. So they have put out their first episode, and I'm going to actually watch it tonight when we're done. So don't ruin it for me. I haven't watched yet.
I'm not going to spoil it. Don't worry.
Thank you. I think I know what the theme is going to be here, though. But yeah, they talk about the timely preservation of data in mobile devices. Such an important topic. If you're not getting those devices extracted immediately, you're losing data every minute. So great topic.
No, and I'm not going to spoil it, but a good discussion, policy wise and technical as well in regards to what does it mean to extract data vis-a-vis the preservation concept. So again, go watch it. It's really good.
Yeah.
Oh, and Jess is in the chat, so thank you for being here as always.
Hi, Jess.
She's saying that every episode is a new conversation, a topic, really like focus on a particular topic. Like us, we kind of freewheel on what's happening all around. But she and the folks in her podcast narrowed down on a topic and run it to ground really well every week. So go check it out.
Perfect. Let's see what else we've got here. So this is another topic we were going to talk about last podcast. It hadn't happened yet, but it has happened now. So Amazon was set to remove the do not send voice recording setting from its Echo devices, and it did actually happen on March 28th. So this change means that all voice requests will be sent to Amazon's cloud, even if users have previously opted out. So if you have Echo devices, your Alexa device, hey Alexa, your voice recordings are now being sent to the cloud. Mine's unplugged now. I think I'm done with it.
Yeah. I know.
Oh, okay, yours is unplugged too.
Yeah.
She talked in the middle of the night when I didn't prompt her anyway, which freaked me out. So, um,
Maybe it's sleep talking. Like just sleep.
yeah, yeah. So she's gone now, but the feature will be replaced with don't save recordings, which still prevents recordings from being stored, but does not stop them from being processed in Amazon's cloud.
Yeah, I mean, what the heck is that supposed to mean?
They say they're not saving them.
Just process. Okay.
Yeah. So they're going to process them, and are they immediately purged, or I'm confused?
Look, if you
how that's
process
gonna-
something, there has to be some output that goes
It's there.
somewhere.
It's there. Yep.
Well, yeah, this is the thing, right? Can you hear me? Yeah.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah. So, this is the company that also kind of owns the Ring camera system and all that. And if I'm not
Mhm.
mistaken, they got caught employees kind of watching in the Blink ones too, kind of watching cameras and footage and stuff like that. So, and the other thing, I mean, I'm not accusing them of anything. The point I'm making is that I apologize. A little cough there. What I'm saying is that as consumers, we need to be smart, and the best predictor of future behavior is past behavior, and how much we value our privacy versus the convenience that gives. I don't know if you mentioned it. Maybe I didn't hear it. The reason they're doing or grabbing those is for what again? You said it already?
Oh yeah, AI. I didn't say it
AI.
yet. No.
Oh, you see it?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, you got it. You're saying it right now.
Yeah, there we go. So yeah, to train their AI. Like, I mean, you all know our opinions on AI in the general. And like Jess is saying in the chat, the data will persist, right? If you share it, it goes somewhere, and I agree with her 100%. So you gotta make an informed decision if the convenience is worth your privacy, and your thoughts and information being now part of this multi-global conglomerate. So just food for thought.
Yeah. They do state though that they're not going to process visual ID, so facial recognition in the cloud. So I'm sure that's coming though if they're using it to train their AI and stuff.
Look, if AI is such a look, you know what, we're gonna talk about AI a little bit later, but yeah, now it's just grab data for AI, grab data.
Yeah.
And, well, I'll say it real quick. There's a push now for these companies. They want to make training their AIs. They want to train it with any piece of data, any book, any media, anything, and consider that fair use. And if you're not familiar, fair use means that you can take any copyrighted publication or media, and you can make small excerpts for certain purposes, right, without breaking the copyright or the law. For example, let's say there's an article or a book, and I'm writing an article about the book. I can take a little paragraph, or not even paragraph, a few sentences to make reference in my article about the book. I can't take the whole book or whole pages. Now I'm breaking the copyright. So I'm doing fair use of that. It's a tiny bit for another purpose. And there's more legality behind it. I'm not a lawyer. I just stayed at a Holiday Inn last night. Old joke from the 90s, I know. So that's okay. But really take everything, like, let's say all this material that you worked on, and now you're just going to give it just to these people because they want to train their AI. I mean, again, those are things that are being discussed in Congress and the courts, and we'll see how that shakes out.
Yeah. Speaking of AI, so AI search engines, there was a study done. It was covered by Ars Technica and conducted by the Columbia Journalism Review Tow Center and Digital Journalism. It found that AI-powered search engines frequently misattribute news sources with an error rate exceeding 60%. 60%.
Yikes.
I don't know about you, but if I am looking for a source or something that I am Googling even, I don't want an error rate of 60%.
And they don't tell you the error rate. And that's one thing I've been complaining a lot about any AI application.
Right.
They just put it in and you don't know what the error rate is. You have no way of gauging or evaluating the validity and the usefulness of this capability.
Mm-hmm.
And look at the problem with AI. So you can say, well, I'm going to give you sources. Okay. Are you going to check the sources? What if the AI misattributes the sources, or just says that it got it from this source and didn't? And you can tell me, well, that would never happen. Oh, look, the thing has AI has made up sources, right? Certain implementations. So
The
I don't know.
study the study goes on to say that. So it said researchers
Yeah.
tested 8 AI search tools by providing direct excerpts from real news articles and asking the model to correctly identify the original headline, publisher, publication date, and URL. The models often provided incorrect or fabricated citations instead of declining to answer when unsure.
Yep.
That's the problem. They don't say I don't know. They answer with something that is just not correct. And I
Well,
think
but
that goes to
mhm,
other things too, not just these
yeah,
news sources, right? I mean, it's anything you're asking.
yeah. But I mean, and this is the thing, and people don't seem to understand. It's called artificial intelligence, but even the term, how do I say this? The term intelligence is artificial, as in it's not intelligent. The thing is not thinking. You again, what AI does is probabilistic. It tries to determine what will be the most likely thing to say based on this training data, and then throwing a little bit of randomness here and there to make it a human sounding, right? And
Mhm.
that's a problem. That's a problem. If we're and we'll talk about an article in a second. If we're taking that as our main research or sourcing of things, that's a problem. It shuts down a part, from my perspective, a part of your brain, because you're
Oh yeah.
offloading that responsibility to the system, and you become not a thinker but an asker, and the thinking to the answer you leave it to the AI, because that's what the AI kind of imposes upon you. Ask me questions, I give you answers. So an AI prompt engineer is just learn how to do questions. Okay, that's important, but how about thinking? How about actually thinking and actually researching and actually doing certain things? I mean, does that make sense to you, Heather?
Yeah, it definitely makes sense. Um and actually that kind of leads right into the next topic, which is the slow collapse of critical thinking in OSINT due to AI. So there was an article by Dutch OS int guy
Yeah,
dot com. Yeah.
Dutch Ocean guy.
Dutch OSINT guy. I'm reading it as a URL. Thank you. Dutch OSINT guy. Thank you. And that article warns that OSINT analysts are increasingly over relying on generative AI tools like ChatGPT, Copilot, and Gemini. And it's eroding critical thinking in the OSINT field
Mm-hmm.
completely.
Well, and it doesn't. I want to make some comments on his article, but before I do that, I want to highlight some comments in the chat. Right. So Brett
Sure.
Shavers, again, a friend of the show, a personal friend. We love him. Great expert, many years experience. He says AI can never be an expert because it will never admit being wrong. And I like this other comment that he makes. We're gonna be the last generation of cognitive thinkers, and it's kind of funny and sad because
Yeah.
we actually might be the last generation of people that actually care enough to think about things.
Yeah.
So for example, the article made a good mention or examples of how in the field of OSINT means open source intelligence. You might need an example. He gives profile a person for a particular case, and you ask the AI to profile the person, and it gives you all these results, really clean, really nice about the person, different interests. But the AI decides to, let's say, the example he gives, omit information from far right forums, right? Because the AI was never trained to look into these far right forums, right? And then you gotta understand this, right? Some people keep different facets of their life separate, right? They're one person in over here and another person over there. So an OSINT investigator, his or her job is to look at everything that they can, right? But if
Mhm.
you upload it to the AI and the AI doesn't have visibility into it, what happens? Well, most likely that analyst will just take that data, put in the report, and hey, this is good. This person is good to go, and they have no knowledge of this other more not destructive, but tendencies that need to be looked into. Let's put it that way. Does that make sense, Heather?
It does. It makes perfect sense. With the OSINT field, the article goes on to say that you need to preserve human judgment and resist the temptation to offload thinking entirely to AI. We have to resist the temptation to rely on AI. It's tough because you can easily go to any of these AI sites and just type a question and it spits back an answer immediately.
Yeah, and I don't believe this is, again, this is my opinion. I don't believe you can give the AI all the information that's been produced um, by humans or nature and train it to do a model. And remember, a model is not a real thing, right? It's the best approximation of something. In this case,
Mhm.
having an all-encompassing model of the universe is impossible. It's too much information. So AI is trying to make an approximation as best as they can of what all the interactions in the universe might be. That's why it's a
Right.
model, right? You have a
Yeah.
car, a model car. It's like the car but smaller, right? And they do the best job at it. There's a point where there's diminishing returns, and right now it's being ubiquitous. It's being thrown at us from all angles. The one thing I would say to everybody is you have to not only ask questions to the AI, but also question the responses. And at some point, you got to realize that depending on what your use case is, maybe thinking is the better, faster way of getting to where you need than asking the AI to then question the answers, to then verify those answers, right?
It's definitely
So,
faster. I've asked the AI questions and then read the answer and been like, no, that's definitely not right. And you tell the AI that's not the answer. And then it's like, okay, let me try again. I'm sorry. It apologizes first. I'm sorry. And then let me try again. It's a totally different answer. Uh, I just, I mean, which one do you believe?
well, there's a thing called vibe coding. What
Mhm.
people do is they go and ask ChatGPT or whatever AI about a coding problem and take the answer. They just keep, pasting code from the AI until it works. It's like they're vibing their
Guilty.
code. Oh my god. Okay,
I've
so let
tried
me.
it. I've definitely
Okay.
tried that.
So how did it work for you?
It does
Was it
not
good?
work out. It does not work out well at all. So I've done it because I bug you all the time about coding. And I'm like, all right, I'm not bugging him today. I'm going to figure it out on my own. I'll get going. And I'm like, all right, it's still not working. I don't know what I did wrong. I don't want to bug you. And I'll just throw it into the chat GPT because I have chat GPT. I'll throw it in there and be like, where did I go wrong? Where did I go wrong? It just rewrites it for me all completely wrong. So anything I had right is now gone.
Yep.
And it's just it's so terrible at that. And you know what? I shouldn't be relying on it. How lazy of that is me, right? How lazy of me does that it's just insane.
No,
And
and
I'm
and
doing it because I don't want to bug you.
well, which is ridiculous. I
I
told you to bug
know.
me all the time.
I know.
Bug me. You're not bugging me. But even people, I know coding. You say, well, maybe I might use it, but what happens, at least when I use it, is I end up finding the errors. I look at the code and like, well, this is not gonna work because of this.
Yeah.
So I end up spending time correcting it till it works, right? And then I look back and say, if I'd done it from the beginning, I would have been done already.
And
You know what I
it's
mean?
part of the problem with me is I don't know how to do it all yet because I haven't finished all the classes. I know.
Yeah.
But I don't know how to do it. So I can't recognize the things that it's getting wrong like you can. So I'm just going with it and it's not gonna work. It's never gonna work.
Well, and you make a point of that, right? So obviously
Mm,
we ask these questions to the system, hoping that we get an answer to things
right.
that we don't know. And
Right.
that's the thing, right? Even questioning the answer, if you don't have a broad understanding of the topic,
Right.
you're never gonna know where is it wrong, right? Like in
Mhm.
forensics, if you're a really well versed examiner and you're using AI and you can verify some of it, that's fine. But the reality of our field is that most folks don't have the level of expertise to use this tool and verify the outputs correctly, and they're gonna be copy
Yeah.
pasting whatever it says, and it might be wrong, and
Yeah.
they don't have the ability to detect that it's wrong. So we gotta really think about how we integrate that if we are going to do that.
Yes. I completely feel this comment right here from Aaron. Hey, ChatGPT, can you please break this code that was working, but I was trying to add one little thing. So that's usually what it is with me. I'll take something that I already have working and I'll find like an additional field in the SQLite database that I want to support in one of the Leap artifacts. And
Yeah.
I won't exactly know how to incorporate that. So I'll just ask it to add this one little thing. And then everything I had working is just done. It's just done. So that comment's perfect.
and
Perfect.
and the little thing, the AI adds like 100 lines of code, and like, how can you add more code than the one I have had already? Like for this
No.
little thing.
No. Oh, it's insane. So, yeah, I mean, it could be a good tool to be helpful, but how helpful is it if it's steering you in the wrong direction?
Well, I mean, my take of that is if you have a level of expertise on a topic and you want to use the AI to kind of give
Assist.
you an assist in the context
Yeah.
of maybe something that based on the data you can think about. Sure, you can do that, but if you're not an expert, I don't want to say expert, knowledgeable in the topic you're looking at, you gotta be careful.
Yeah.
You won't be able to verify the output since you don't have the
Yeah.
knowledge.
Yeah. Well, here's another huge problem that Brett brings up too, though. I asked ChatGPT a question, and its answer was a paragraph from a blog post that I had written years earlier. It was my post, word for word, without attribution. Yeah. So in one of these articles, actually, I think in both articles, it addresses that very issue. Like, it's not giving the publisher the traffic on the website for one, and it's also not giving them the credit for the article. And honestly, if you asked what source it was, Brett, it probably wouldn't have even known it was you.
Well, and I've been blowing the horn or the alarm on this for since last year, and imagine you go to court and you did some work using Windows or Excel, let's say, or Celebrite Magnet, MSAB, one of those tools, but you use a cracked version, right? You didn't pay for it, right? You didn't pay for it, and they'd ask you a court, well, did you upkeep your licenses? Was this a licensed product? Like, no. What do you think is going to happen? Right? You stole the product to use it for a Okay. That being said, imagine using AI, and what about the attribution, the legality of the training data? Was it acquired properly? Was copyright protected? Is this tool licensed? It's modeling data properly? Will that come bite you in the behind later when you use the tool and it's known that you used it, but that tool was stealing, for lack of a better word, data from all around to train this model?
Right.
And this is something that we just put it on the system that we don't think about. The provenance of the training data. There's legalities around it. Like I said before, Brett put this article out. You can reference it as, to fair use, but you shouldn't just grab it and put it out there with no attribution, right? So there's some things to think about, and how might that affect our workflow if we don't take time to understand the provenance of our training data for these AI systems.
Definitely. Continuing with the AI theme, the National NIST, the National Institute of Standards and Technology, recently, I believe last month, issued updated directives to scientists collaborating with the U.S. Artificial Intelligence Safety Institute. The directives remove references to AI safety, responsible AI, and AI fairness, and instead emphasize reducing ideological bias to promote human flourishing and economic competitiveness. What do you think of that one?
Look, so my take on that was on LinkedIn that we should really look into international standards, not because they're perfect, not because they will align with every need of every country one-to-one, but an international process is a more broad-based process, and it's let me put it this way, more resistant to influence from outside factors. Let me put it that way, right? It's more resistant when you have a really broad-based process to get to an agreement on what these standards are. Now, they're not perfect, right? Especially, and some comments that Brett was making in that conversation, those comment section in LinkedIn. For example, there's one thing about the technical way of doing something, and then that technicality of what you did. How is it presented at court? Is it enough? Is the standard enough to be able to use that data in the court in the US versus a court in Europe versus a court in somewhere in the Pacific, whatever, right? So those are fair things to consider. But again, I will really try to impress upon everybody the need of international standards, to try to look for them, because some standards that are really nation focused, they're more, for what we've seen, more prone to be influenced by outside entities. And the problem with that is the science is a science, and any outside influences should be more science. That's the only influence. Science it's made better by more science, right? and even when we talk about ethics is science, right? Empathy is science. We get that. We have scientific ways of understanding it. So it has to be science. Hopefully that makes sense for everybody.
Definitely.
Look into those international standards. Let me put here a comment from Jess.
Sure.
There are many bodies that are international standard based not only the process but also the people. For example, DFRWS and DFR Review are international bodies in terms of peer review, and this is so important. A lot of the country or regional bias can only be canceled out when it's presented at international conferences, international symposiums, international organizations, where everybody can then collaborate and come to an agreement there. So that's all I'm gonna say about that, because I don't want to get in too much of a pickle here.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. So let's move on to a recent blog post by Christian Peter, who we love his work. Christian Peter is the creator of UFADE that we've talked about on the show quite a few times in the past. And actually, before we get into his recent blog posts, there were also recently some updates to UFADE. So if you're using UFADE, go out and get that new version with the updates and improvements that Christian has implemented. But his blog post discusses how some forensic tools may inadvertently alter or delete unified logs. And if you've listened to the show at all or read any of Lionel Notari's work on unified logs, there's some good stuff in there, right? There's some really important data that's in those logs. And he's emphasizing that the critical importance of these logs in forensic investigations, and recommends that when the device is presented with consent, meaning that the device is unlocked or you have the passcode, that you extract those unified logs prior to connecting and extracting with your forensic tools.
Yeah. I mean, order volatility is something that changes all the time. I remember that, again, the days when you got to the computer, and what do you do with it? If it's on, you would unplug it. So you could stop any changes to the system, just unplug it, and then take it and image it, right? And then we learned that memory is kept, and I say kept, but it's kept in the RAM. But if you unplug it, that memory is lost. That content is lost. And we changed the order of volatility on how we get those. Same thing with mobile devices. That's changing all the time. For example, now we're getting extraction from Android from that RAM. And so will that change our process of acquisition? That's discussions that are going.
Yeah.
But this is my big thing with this issue. And I try to be a straight shooter as best as I can. So I'll give you everybody straight. The tooling is wiping these logs before we get a chance to acquire them. And this was noted not by the tool makers, but by community members. Okay. And there's silence. There's radio silence to the community in regards to this issue. And it's up to the community, folks like us, to let you know that if you're using an extraction tool that generates full file system extractions from a device, you need to pull out the Apple Unified Logs, the sysdiagnose logs.
Oh, I lost you.
Testing.
There we go. I gotcha.
Oh, okay. Yeah, my own computer went like, I heard the disconnecting connecting sound. I freaked out for a second.
You sound a little bit like you're in a tunnel now.
Yeah, that sucks. Maybe my main microphone got lost, so that's why.
Might be. I can hear you now, though.
Okay, sorry everybody. I was in mid rant. Yeah, I think I got folks telling me. I think on the I got people telling me it's not, you couldn't hear it, but not now you can hear me. All right, so here's the thing. You need to pull those things out. And again, let me explain something real quick here so people understand. We're not speaking as members of our agencies. We represent the government. We represent our employees. We represent ourselves, and we're commenting on something that was made known by a community member to the whole community, and we're going off of that, right, based on that knowledge. And that, if that's the case, then you need to do these things, right? And it's up to everybody that's listening to go and try it out yourself. Is your tooling deleting those? Get a test phone and extract it, do a full file system, and see what you get in the logs, if any, right? And you test it on your own. Like this is the science of it. Right, so I'm gonna make that clear. We're not here advocating or speaking for our employers or agencies. We're just members of the community, and this is what we're seeing. This is what people anecdotally are telling us. That being the case, you need to pull those logs out before you get your full file system extraction with the tooling. From a community member perspective, we would like to hear from the vendors on this as sooner rather than later. Beyond whatever technical solution they might provide, which I believe they have to, about the how can I say this, guidance on that order of volatility. And I would like to hear justification in regards to why is this happening. Because now you got tooling that possibly, based on anecdotal evidence, tell you yourself, is deleting data from the system. And that could be problematic. In this field, we're trying to do the opposite. We're trying to acquire and preserve. So if you have a great reason for it, that's fantastic. But whatever your reason is, the preservation of the data is higher in that order. I don't know if you agree with me, and I'm kind of going out on a limb here, but that's my take as a member of the community, and I want to make that clear to everybody. I notice I never mention any vendor by name because that's not up to me to do. Right? You go and test it out. Go check the articles from it was Christian, right? That made the article.
Christian. Yeah, Christian.
Yeah, Christian made that. Check his article out and do your own testing. That's what we're here for. We don't believe just because we do some testing and then we see if that's the case or not. And if that's the case, then we need to then try to see how we mitigate those issues. Hopefully, I mean, I know some people will get mad at me. Well, too bad, so sad. It is what it is.
Get the logs first. You can use Christian's tool, UFADE, to get the logs first.
Yeah, get them. Preservation. Look, listen to Jess' podcast. They talk all about preservation and acquisition, and not precisely maybe directly on this example, but the importance. What does preservation mean, right? And the legalities around it, and that's something to consider. We're here to preserve data. Our tools need to support supports us on that. And again, tools are great. The blindly trusting tools is a problem. Blindly trusting tools, blindly trusting AI. I don't care who the vendor is. This is not about a particular vendor or set of vendors. This is just the concept, the moral concept of how we do our work. Again, our probity, that's the moral value, the values that we bring to our work. Our due diligence, are we doing the job as we need to do it? And attention to detail. Are we making sure we got all the data that we need? And if our tools are failing one of those things, our moral values compel us to speak out and look for mitigating solutions and for permanent solutions. And I would say reach out for your testing, to your tool vendors on the topic, because I believe it needs to be addressed yesterday.
Agreed. So another LinkedIn post that we saw the last few weeks is from Jordan Hare, and it's titled "Not All Encryption is Created Equal." So this article is about encrypted applications like the Gallery Vault and how they often boast about their great security, but really in the forensic world, it's poor security. We can recover data through forensic analysis, through extraction. There's often weak PIN codes, poor encryption, and just data that makes these applications vulnerable when we extract and when we parse and analyze. So it's a good article. Specifically talks about the Gallery Vault, which is an Android app designed to hide and encrypt files. We can definitely get into the Gallery app, even though it boasts that great security. Yeah, I can think of like a whole bunch of other applications that have this like really big headline where they're like, we are encrypted end to end. Nobody's going to get your data. And it's not always the case.
Well, I mean, the weak point so let me put it this way. In transit, it's really well protected, right? It's well protected. The data, they usually do a good job. And it's not hard, right? If your app is a browser, that's taken care of, right? SSL will take care of encrypting your stuff as it moves through the wire. It's not rocket science, right? Just if you're really lazy, just use a browser as your app, skin an app as a browser, and use SSL to get the data out. Done. Mm-hmm. The issue is at the endpoints. endpoint security is the big Achilles heel of security, right? And it could be used for lawful purposes. Law enforcement, we look into endpoint security in order to be able to lawfully acquire evidence to prosecute and investigate crimes. But also nefariously, bad actors will also do that through malware and attack the endpoint to be able to access to communications or other things for nefarious purposes. Even nation states, as we've seen in the news, do that. So there's an issue there. Now, since that's the Achilles heel of it, there are, like you said, there are apps that really do a bad implementation of endpoint security within themselves. And this is not the first time I've seen that. There's some research done by his alter ego. This examiner uses like a dog. I forgot what the name of the geez. It'll come back to me. I'll come back to me. I'll get to it later. If not, I'll put it in the notes so you can check it out. What he did, he went and reverse engineered the APK and found out that the password to open the encryption of the app was hard coded in the app. What that means is you can put whatever pin you want. It doesn't matter. The thing is encrypted with a hard coded password, which means that if you, Heather, have the app with data and I have the app with data and I get into your phone, I can use that hard coded password to get into your vault, my vault, any vault. And actually, we had that implemented in A-Leap. We got 2 or 3 different vault apps that use that hard coded password, and we implemented it, and you can get into them. And it still works. It's been like years, and they still work, and they're pretty popular apps. Incidental shoot toy. See, Josh to the rescue, man.
Yes.
Yes. Josh is the best. I'm so happy to have you in the chat, man. I love you. We saw Josh a few days ago at the event. I didn't have a chance to spend as much time as I wanted with him because, busy guy, Celebrate event, rock star at Celebrate. So I'm hoping to spend way more time with Josh at Techno because we're gonna see him there. So so Josh came to the rescue with the incidental tutor. He made that research, and it's implemented in A-Leap, right? Endpoint security. So if you're an examiner, you gotta broaden up your scope of investigations, right? So you might need to look into how do I reverse engineer an APK, and classes, at least for forensic purposes, classes like the mobile forensics class that Heather Barnhart gives for SANS teach you how to do that, how to go in and pull things from those APKs. If you don't know what an APK is, that's the program that runs on your Android device. And you can do the same thing with other mobile device apps and look into those. And you'll be surprised of what you find. Like Kevin is saying, a lot of it is encoding, and people don't know the difference between encoding and encryption, right?
Absolutely.
Big difference. So part of our job is not only hitting the button and saying, well, it was not decoded, I can't get in. No, do some investigation. Take that APK, reverse engineer it, get that Java jar and make it unopen it and look for strings. Try to see if you can find something that might be of interest, and you will be surprised what you will find.
I was just reading on Twitter or X or whatever the heck it is. I know I shouldn't be on there anymore. It's a cesspool of garbage now. But I was reading on it. There was somebody talking about, and I don't even know who it was. I don't even know how it got into my damn feed. But somebody talking about how, they'll never get my messages because I use Signal. Yeah, okay. It kind of fits right along with this, but yeah.
Well, there's a word for that. It's what's your threat model, right? So if your threat model is, I'm worried that somebody, based on my circumstances, that they will get my conversations because they're intercepting my communications. Well, that's a lower threat level for that. But if your threat model is somebody is trying to actively hack into my phone, like a nation state, well, just saying Signal's going to make it better, that might be not enough, right? Yeah. The app is good. There's nothing wrong with the app. It's properly, I think, one of the better implemented communications apps, and the source code is open. People test it and validate it all the time. So it's I don't want to say that it's bad. It's really good. But your threat model has to, depending on what the risks are, has to widen. If you're like let's say in a country, you're some sort of let's say like resistance, liberty-loving person, and you're trying to bring democracy in your home country, and the government doesn't want you to. It's a made-up example. Then your threat model has to be way wider than maybe a person that doesn't want some snooper listening or reading their messages. Does that make sense, Heather, more or less?
Yeah, definitely.
yeah, think about what your threat model is. What are the issues that you're confronting? What's your risk? And what are your vulnerabilities? And then you can, prepare accordingly, and do whatever you need to do.
Right. All right. So how about we go over an artifact? I have been planning like some artifact of the week when we do the podcast, even though it's not every week. But this week I'm going to show a little bit about Snapchat. So Snapchat, there are tons of databases that are related to the Snapchat artifact. I just did a few screenshots here of some of the databases that are related to Snapchat. So when you're doing an investigation and you find a video or an image that's related to Snapchat, what do you do next? Like, how did it get there? Did the user record it? What other information is available about the Snapchat video? So this video here, you can see the name of the video is a long letter number combination, and it's got the dot decrypted at the end. So I'll say I used Celebrate, and they support decrypting for this particular artifact. So I have the file name. I don't really have much else for information about this video. So I wanted to know about this video. I was doing some testing on one of my test phones, and what other information can I find out about this Snapchat video? So the cache controller database is where you go find what's called, the column is called an external key, and that relates to the Snapchat video. So I took the name of the video and searched it in the cache controller database. The table is the cache file claim. And when I search the name of the video, I get back the user ID that's related to the video, which was my Snapchat user account, and then a column called external key. I take the letter and number combination of the external key, and the first thing I do is I do a search across the entire image. I want to see where that video, where that external key is hitting and what databases it's hitting in. So here's just a visual of all of the different databases from Snapchat that video external key hits in. Once I did that, I started looking through the databases. One of the databases related to Snapchat is called SCDB-27, and it's a SQLite database. And inside of that database, you can find created times, you can find save times, snap capture times. The Z entry ID is actually that external key. So that's how I located it in this database and in this particular table. Another table in that same database has information about whether the video has a location or not. This one has a 1. That was a flag for yes, my video has a location data. It has, again, the capture time, created time, duration of the video, and other information related to this video. It also hit in the memories asset repository SQLite. I had saved this video as a memory in Snapchat, so that is showing that it is saved in memories. And then in the gallery encrypted DB, that is decrypted by Celebrate, and I believe other tools decrypt it too. I'm not 100% sure, but I know Celebrate decrypts it. In the snap location table is actually that location information. And I found it again by taking that external key and searching it in the database for the video. And the latitude and longitude actually comes back to just about exactly where I was parked in the parking lot before headed in to enjoy some sushi at a local sushi restaurant near me.
As one does. Get that sushi.
Definitely. Yeah. So
which we'll be getting a lot at IASIS, but that's another story for another day.
We better be. I expect it. So with this, I kind of just wanted to show how you can connect the dots on a Snapchat image or video. When it's parsed by tools, by certain tools, you may not see the entire picture. You may have to go into the databases and find some of that information about the video yourself. The video was parsed perfectly. I could watch it. It's actually me filming the parking lot of the Hanzo Japanese Steakhouse. And I was able to just prove a whole bunch of other data about this video. So if it was part of one of my cases, I would have had the exact location that the video was recorded, and I would have had all of the capture times. If it's a memory, if it's shared, you can find that. This one wasn't shared. But all kinds of other information just by finding that external key in the cache controller database and following the breadcrumbs to all of the other databases related to Snapchat.
Yeah, and you make such a great point for everybody to kind of remember, right? And if you can go back to the first slide, the tools will find the media with their media finding procedures, right? But notice, and this is not a dig on any tool. This happens a lot on all tools. They take that media, if it comes from a decrypted container or from a database, there is no metadata there. And if you look at it, you're like, well, there's no metadata. And it's super important. But that data might be somewhere, and it might be inside that database. Which
it is.
it is, right? And there's no mapping, no position, nothing. But the lats and longs are there as well. So we have to go that step further and figure out, could this reside somewhere else? And you know this because you know how apps work. You know that some of these apps, especially apps that receive data and send data, will keep track of that media on another location. And we were talking about it before the show. If you receive a piece of media, it's called image 1, and you receive another that's called image 1. You can't. They're going to collide, and one might be deleted, right? So what these systems do, these apps do, they keep track with individual IDs for every piece of media, and they keep the file name on different metadata in databases for them to reproduce them to you without avoiding some conflicts, naming conflicts, avoiding all sorts of different issues that might happen if they don't keep track of that information. It's on you to get it. I have another example that one artifact that I worked some time ago, one of the cache, I forgot the name of the cache right now, one of the caches that Android
Image Cache Manager.
The Image Cache Manager. Do the tools find the pictures? Of course they find it. They're there, but it doesn't give you the context of these images are related to the app and they were rendered by the app. And some of these images, for example, one of the gallery vaults, they're all encrypted, but the little copies of the cache, they're there. You know the contents of the vault because they kept copies of it inside that cache. And the app tells you that. Not the app, sorry. The artifact puts that together for you, right? And again, never just look at the tool and say, oh, I don't see a timestamp. It doesn't exist. Think about the app. How does the app work? Is it coming from a decrypted database or decrypted data source? And if that's the case, think that metadata is going to be managed by the app somewhere else. The question is, where is it? And it might be inside a protobuf data structure. It might be inside a SQLite database. It might be JSON inside SQLite, which we've seen a lot, right, Heather?
Yes.
So the idea for you as an examiner is to have that thought process that you're going to step into that gap where the tools can show you something, because there might be, more times than not, something to actually obtain that has value for your case.
Yeah. And this one, I mean, the stuff I need is parsed by the tools. The location is parsed. The video is parsed. I just wanted to find additional data and see if there was anything else that may be helpful in a case, right? And there is, like, I may not have correlated that video was in the locations tab, but going and following it through its entire lifespan in the Snapchat databases will just give you the full picture related to that video.
There's some memories, right? What makes a memory a memory?
It was saved. I don't even know how Snapchat really works all the way, but it was saved in my memories section of Snapchat. I actually had hit save at one point to get it there. So it wasn't in my camera roll part. It was actually saved into my memories section.
Well, that's important, right?
Yes.
That's important. It tells you about the user interaction. What was happening in the world at the moment that happened. Do the tools highlight that for you? Did they highlight the memories part for you, the tooling?
I didn't see the memories part, no, but the location and the video I saw.
Yeah, but see, that's the point I'm making, right? You dig a little bit, and now you're finding the memories. There was some overt action from the user to put this here as opposed to there.
Yeah,
and it's it's an example, but it could mean many different things. The thing is, you need to know that it's there to make some determinations about what happened.
Yeah, on older versions of Snapchat, it's not there anymore, but there used to be a P list called stories.plist, and that would actually tell you if the video was shared to the user's stories. That P list isn't there anymore, so I need to do some further testing and investigating to see where that data is stored, because it's still somewhere.
Exactly.
Maybe one of the databases I haven't updated recently, and that's kind of obsolete now in some of the newer versions of Snapchat.
There's a lot of questions in the chat. I mean, we're out of time already. We're 5 minutes over time, but I just want to make a quick point for the folks asking some questions. If you're really interested in the provenance of images, the forensic scooter, Scott, I forgot his last name, but we forget his last name, Scott Coining. Yep. Yeah, he did an incredible set of articles and artifacts in the Leaps, in iLeap, that look at the photo.sqli database. The photo.sqli database keeps track of a lot of metadata about your pictures in the general. And one of the fields that I like is that bundle ID field, which tells you if that picture, where it came from, if it came from an app, and if so, what app it came from. So the folks asking about provenance, a Celebrite PA, Insights PA, as a module for provenance of images. I forgot the media. I forgot the name of the media origin. It's really good because it's a probabilistic in the sense of makes a determination that you have to verify, but it's good because it highlights possible images where they came from, if they were downloaded, if it came from a particular app, if it was generated by the phone. And again, it adds up different artifacts or indicators to make a determination. Then you can go and validate, right? Verify and validate. That is, well, let me take that back. To verify that it's good. Validation means another thing. To verify that it's correct. And I find it to be useful for that. So there's many ways of investigating provenance of media in iOS devices. And there's a lot of articles and tooling that might help you on that.
Yeah, definitely. The one comment that asks, can metadata specify if the video coming from the gallery of the internal phone or made through the app? There are indicators and flags for that. I had a coworker who actually had a case, and he was following the path, and I don't remember exactly how he figured it out. But I'm going to get back to Malik on that, because I know that we had a case that actually involved the image was coming from the gallery, and then it was shared in the Snapchat, and there is a way to tell that. So I'll get back to you on that.
And Josh, the man, I mean, he clearly states that Android has something similar in the external.db SQLite data store, right? So it has a field called owning package or something like that, where it also tells you the provenance, where the picture came from. So you got places to look in iOS and Android when that's important for your case.
So let me remove this here. I don't know if we missed any of the comments, but if we did, you guys can reach out to me on LinkedIn if I missed anybody's question.
Yeah, questions, yeah.
So we are to the end. It's been an hour and 8 minutes, and we have the meme of the week.
Oh, wait. Before we do that.
Yep.
Scott is also in the chat.
Oh yeah, you got
it. We're drowning in experts in this chat. I'm sorry. This is the smartest digital forensics hour in the planet. Every week we come out because we got the experts like oozing out of our chats. It warms my heart, right? So Scott, the man, the world expert on photo.sqlite, because he won't accept it. He's really humble. He's a really nice guy, but he's the world expert on this stuff. He's coming with some blogs as steps that can be taken to gain confidence in this analysis in iOS device capture media. So I'm really looking forward to that when that one comes out, Scott. And thank you for giving us a heads up that's coming. We appreciate it.
Oh, and when we were at the Celebrate conference, before we go to the meme of the week here, Scott did a presentation on his photo SQLite, and they have a really limited amount of time. I have never seen somebody pack so much information into 45 minutes in my life, because that photo SQLite stuff, that's a lot. Like he has done so many queries for that, and it's a lot to talk about. And you should have heard how fast he was talking, but he got it all in there. And it was an excellent presentation.
Absolutely. It worthwhile headache, because you're like, I got this information now already.
Definitely. So if you ever get the chance to hear about the photo SQLite live from him, definitely recommend.
It's an experience.
What's that?
it's an experience.
Yeah, definitely. So we have the meme of the week. You take this one away. Explain away.
So you got the classical meme of the guy with a girlfriend, and he's like looking at another girl that's walking by, and the girlfriend's like, "What are you looking at?" What? So the guy looking is called Digital Forensics Examiner with quotations, and the girlfriend is offended because he's looking somewhere else, looking at another girl. It's called copy and paste from the tool report. And the girl that's walking by that's so attractive to this guy, to the examiner, is copy and paste from Gen for generative AI, right? And I made the point on that because I'm really trying to this time period where AI is being implemented in our tooling and our procedures to create some awareness that our processes and the way we do work as individual examiners need to revisit that and revisit it every so often. This habit of taking tool output and just putting it out in our reports with little verification, it's bad, but doing the same, applying the same concept to like generative AI within our tooling is going to be way worse. So at the end of the day, the issue is not the tool or the reports or even Gen AI, right? The issue here is the examiner, us. Because at the end of the day, the ones responsible for the acquisition, preservation, analysis, the parsing, analysis, and reporting of that data is us. It's you that are listening. It is the person that's watching this podcast right now. So it's on us to be able to have that probity, moral probity, have that attention to detail, and have our due diligence. And we cannot outsource that neither to the tool reports or generative AI. It's up to us, and it's a call for us to really up our level of expertise and look for ways to actually be effective in the best way possible.
Couldn't agree more. All right, that's all I've got. That's all we've got.
So yeah, nothing else for the good of the order, Heather?
I have no more topics, and we've gone past our hour. Not that it matters. Not that it matters. Yeah.
Well, we do it every episode anyway, so.
Yeah, we do. You're right. It's not the longest one.
That's true. No, so again, I want to thank all the folks that have been chatting with us, watching live, Jess and Brett and Scott and Kevin, and all the folks that we had a chance to recognize in the chat. Malik making great questions. You made the show interesting to us and interesting to others. So thank you for being here live. The folks that watch later and listen later, we also appreciate you for supporting the podcast. Hopefully it brings value to you, a little bit of humor every now and then. And feel free to reach out to Heather, not me. I'm kidding.
No, honestly, there were a few questions in there that I think I missed. So seriously, if anybody wants to hit me up in the LinkedIn messages, I will attempt to answer your questions.
Absolutely, and don't worry, we collaborate. So well, again, thank you everybody. We love you to pieces, and let's keep forensicating. Let's keep it going.
Yeah, thank you.
Take care, and everybody. As I put the music on, have a fantastic night. Take care, and then I hit play.